So you've obtained some medical treatment for whatever reason, whether you've been injured in an auto accident or just some routine treatment, whether you've gotten labs, seen your primary care physician, perhaps you had to get some x-rays, an MRI, ultrasound, any variety of treatment. You provide your health insurance information to the doctor's office, to the hospital, they submit a claim to your insurance, and lo and behold, a few weeks later, maybe a month later, you get an EOB, an explanation of benefits from your insurance company saying it's going to either pay the claim, pay a bit of the claim, leaving you responsible for a bit. Perhaps you have a deductible that you have to meet before your health insurance will provide full coverage. Perhaps just health insurance completely denied the claim, said you're responsible. What recourse is there for you if there's some sort of adverse decision from your health insurance company? Fortunately, there's an appeal process, which is usually detailed in length in the actual health insurance policy, and it's typical that after you receive an explanation of benefits that you may have 180 days or so to submit an appeal. And what that would entail would be you providing a letter to the insurance company, perhaps copies of some medical records, explaining why you disagree with the health insurance company's decision. So let's bring up a pretty straightforward example. Say you go for an MRI, you get an explanation of benefits from your insurance company that it's an in-network treatment, so there's going to be a contractual write-off. Say the insurance company writes off, say it's a $3,000 bill, and health insurance has a contractual write-off of $1,500, but then says you owe the remaining $1,500 because it's subject to your deductible. Well, your insurance policy may have various coverages that aren't subjected to a deductible, and maybe you think this might be one of those coverages. That's where the appeal process could come in. Send a letter to the insurance company, provide records, provide an explanation in that letter saying, I believe this is coverage that isn't subject to the deductible, and submit it to the insurance company. Usually the policy will have a mailing address to send this appeal. Some health insurance companies, if you have an online account, you can submit that appeal online, and then the health insurance will usually have about 30 days to render a decision. They can either grant the appeal, and no doubt in my example you would argue that health insurance should cover that $1,500. If they rule in your favor, health insurance would pay that $1,500 to the hospital. But it's also quite possible the health insurance company would deny the appeal and stand by its initial decision. In my example, that you would still owe the $1,500. That would be subject to the deductible, and this is assuming that you haven't met that yet. If during the appeal process you lose, it's typical to have a second level of appeal that would be sort of an independent arbitrator, where you essentially submit a second appeal, and it goes to an independent party who will then review it and render a decision. And again, if that third party arbitration or that second level of appeal again rules against you, then usually at that point the recourse would be to file a lawsuit. Typically file it in the common pleas court in whatever county you reside. You file a complaint for what's called declaratory judgment against the health insurance company, and in that complaint you would make all the allegations that, in my example for instance, health insurance should cover the full amount of the bill because it wouldn't be part of the deductible. So really the bottom line here is, if you get an adverse decision from a health insurance company for a claim for whatever services, if you don't feel like the insurance company is living up to its end of the bargain of the insurance contract, there are options for you to challenge that adverse decision from the health insurance company. So don't just take your health insurance company's word. There are options for you to challenge bad decisions.